Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious.
It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.
Okay. But you said that the air cities don't exist
Now,
now.
they're banned from being in the North Pole.
Okay.
Part of when Atlantis began to rise, fall, three rise, three falls.
Wow.
Well, it's the same pattern as Lemuria.
Right.
Because you went through another dense part of space, light part of space, dense part of space,
Right.
light part of space.
Right.
As Atlantis reached its peak, its consciousness of its world was really about stopping these wars of invasion.
Mm.
You had all you can stand, you can't stand anymore, you're eating their spinach, and they're going to go out and kick butt and take names. And that's what they did on their first rise. Well, what happens when you kick butt and take names 1,000 years later? You get some mad people coming back.
Yeah, yeah.
It just brought a mass migration of attackers back at them.
Right, right.
Okay,
Right.
This puts Atlantis in a tough situation. It had a mass investment of people from Lemuria, and then a mass migration to there because the Lemurian people that were outside of time completed soul codes to other migration groups that had been missing for millions of years.
Mm.
So all of a sudden they're back in this matrix, and a whole big flock of people migrate here.
Mm.
That big flock of people, what we call refugees, worlds that were destroyed by domination and control or used up and said, we don't need this anymore, we're going to go on to the next one. Refugees came here. These refugees were in the worst healing states.
Mm-hmm.
They needed healers. The Lemurians interbred with the Atlanteans to create healers. The Arcturians and the Orions and the Pleiadians came here to be healers because they needed billions of healers.
Wow.
They didn't need tens of thousands, they needed billions.
Ooh.
Okay, and this is what brought the galactic commerce of healers being shared among worlds.
Oh.
So that peak of Atlantis.
Caller, you're live on the Kevin Smith Show. Your first name and from where are you calling?
Well, hi, Kevin. It's Lasha from Vancouver.
Hello, Lasha.
How are you tonight?
Excellent. And you?
Good, good. I didn't hear the first little bit of the program, but I heard it was Andrew, and I thought, I need to know what's in the Akashic Records about me, if anything.
Was Lasha ever part of Atlantis, Andrew?
I need to tune into her voice. Tell me what you did for your first 10 minutes of the day when you woke. Give me about 30 or 40 seconds, right when you woke up, and I'll tune into the infinite you becoming the finite you, and then I'll be able to tell your record.
Sure thing. I got up quite quickly and had to go out, and my partner woke me up, and we had to go out and actually take care of the pool out front.
I've tuned into you.
You're
part of the second.
Okay, Lasha, he's got it.
Okay.
You're part of the second rise of Atlantis. After Atlantis fell the first time and it was rising back again, that's where you came. You actually came from the Arcturian collective called Nik Aruta. There's several dozen factions within it. Their actual purpose is to aggregate healers and to share this as a collective information among soul families. So those soul families can go out and incarnate in other worlds and make sure that the healing information and healing philosophy is spread among soul families that are growing. Your actual purpose in Atlantis was to be a vibratory healer.
Okay, Andrew, you got to hang on. Lasha, hang on. We got a break taking over. But we're going to come back right after this. Lasha, are you still on the line with us?
I'm right here.
All right, and I see Andrew is still with us. So, Andrew, I'm sorry, but the break took over. And
good.
just go ahead.
As I was saying, you're meant to. Your time during Atlantis was to be a vibratory healer. You would create very special echo chambers, and these echo chambers were to take the darkness of war out of people. You were essentially helping prisoners of war and survivors of war how to reclaim their free will from the darkness that was constantly infesting the world, as well as there were spirits that were force incarnate here from the dark side, and you would take up the healing act to heal them. So you're meant to be a healer, part of the Arcturian collective, and that's representative of the many thousands of lifetimes you lived here on Earth. You came in at about 206,000, 205,000 years ago, and since that time you've been stuck in a reincarnation process of being the healer or being the warrior, being the healer or being the warrior, and you're stuck into this polarized phase of healing and warrior, so that you can help resolve the war concept among your soul family. And your soul family is pretty large. It's about 600. That's the group of spirits you regularly incarnate with or jump through the timelines. You know, there was a significant part of time where you spent in the astral world trying to recover from this reincarnation process that was so damaging. And that's where
Andrew,
reconnected with
I
the
have
Venusian.
memories of the Earth being formed. And
Go ahead. You have the memories that you have from the Earth. I'm actually reading it in your Akashic record. There was a time about 118,000 years ago where you incarnated into a Mayan concept. This was long before the concepts of the Mayans that we have now, but the pyramids were already there, and you were called part of what's known as the Red Jaguar clan, and that's where you connected to the Earth Akashic record, just similar to I do, but you did it on a grander scale, interfunctioning with the pyramid networks. And what you're re-experiencing in those memories is the powerful consciousness of that individual lifetime that's now emerging in this lifetime, so you can go through your personal awakening.
You're right. I actually find that I can affect the magnetic meridian lines in other dimensions.
Yep.
Concerning the Earth field.
Yep.
I've been asked to do that.
You have a magnetic personality.
I'm very polarized.
Yeah.
Yeah, Andrew, thank you so much. There's so much that I need clarified because it's a bit of a different path for me than most people, and it's a little hard to grasp it sometimes. Thank you.
I've got a message from your spirit guides. What they want you to do is to visualize the aurora borealis in the North Pole before you go to sleep, and make sure that you keep that imagery as long as possible, and you'll reconnect to the dream time of Earth itself. And that's actually what you did in that lifetime as a star watcher. You would travel to where the aurora borealis was so you could view it and become part of Earth's sentient dream time, separate of the human dream time.
I still do that. I'm an astrologer in this lifetime, and I also astro travel and go through many dimensions. And I'm a very well-studied mystic, so yeah, I know exactly what they mean. In fact, my screensaver is the aurora borealis. I grew up in Edmonton watching them in the sky, too. Thank you so much, Andrew.
You're welcome.
And thank you for the call.
So what other kinds of questions did you have for me? Let's go deep.
Well, one of the things is of course the belief systems. As I'm very gently, but quite often, speaking to my very hip comrades and colleagues about belief systems and about why is this such a hard technology to break, and why is it so difficult for people to let it go?
Because it goes all the way into your light-bodied DNA. Our physical DNA, this DNA lineage that we are currently living in, is a manifestation from your mother and father who created a portal with an egg and a sperm for your soul to come in and manifest a photonic technology that is a DNA code, which allows you to make arms, legs, butts, fingers, eyelashes, so that your soul can be a part of it and begin experiencing. Okay, why it's so hard is we come in with these belief systems ingrained into our soul from the way we get light body reviews that aren't real light. They're false light body reviews where false light beings and archons are putting slave concepts into you, so that when you come back in, the things that you begin to remember as a baby are your slave lifetimes, instead of you naturally going through all of your memories and determining in that free will spirit that is 1 year old to 4 years old before its innocence is broken. So because you're still connected to the dream world fully then, and that's why it's so hard. And then you have propaganda technology that was created knowing that you can influence photonic light technology if it's sitting in front of the TV for 8 hours a day, and that you can enforce the programming as the I am presence is witnessing things through story and culture and science and whatever, to enforce hundreds of different archetypes of slave service or sloth or envy or jealousy, and those are just so much a part of our photonic element that when you're in the astral world you don't have it, but as soon as you go through the filter of being born, it's there. And it's very, very difficult in the astral world to remove those from your photonic light because you are an ever-present being, fully aware. In this world, we can do psychic surgery, so many, many beings thought if they could come in, they would be able to find a psychic surgeon here on Earth, but the vast majority of them were just wiped out in the Atlantean hunter-killer scenarios in which Vogorans, Jorans, and a bunch of others, they came here and said, everyone that's a psychic surgeon, you're wanted, dead or alive. And they put $1 million bounty in every single one, and every bounty hunter from the galaxies around here who didn't know that the Galactic Ascension machine came, killed off all the people existing in one generation, went to the astral world, and these bounty hunters, thinking that they were going to leave, all of a sudden realize they're now in a permanent contract. Every time these psychic surgeons come back into life, they're going to go hunt them down. So how do we break light body programming? I am presence contract revocation is just the 101 teaching. There is a whole other way of voice speaking with elements, talking to the fire, talking to the water, talking to the wind, the air, the earth. That's the power of your voice. And then you have the power of your voice combined with something that you have manifested, such as a flute, a drum, or a guitar. You know, the drum has many, many prophecies about the talking drum, as well as the flute, and cultures throughout all of time. Okay, so your main question is what you can do to help your self-relief from belief system, or did you have specific questions you wanted to start with?
Well, one of the questions I had was that could you comment on the City of Light, Jenny Townsend, City of Light that's going to be in Sedona, which is already there, and we can't see it yet because of our lower vibrations.
Well, I happen to live in Yelm, Washington, and Yelm is a very special place, much like Sedona, and there are astral cities that are here in Yelm that become slightly visible at times when the veil is very thin. And the ones that you're talking are in a very similar situation. The people can see them at times, but what they can't do is make them manifest until a lot more of the soul family homing beacons have turned on. So for these light cities and soul family, we're going to call them refugee camps. That's the best way to describe them, is where multidimensional beings create consciousness exploration vessels, which is they let go of their physical bodies, they become energy bodies, they bond with dozens or hundreds of other beings with the express purpose of coming to another reality like Earth and setting up a temporary bubble of reality in which souls can come in and be linked to a collective that helps them find their other soul family members. It's much like the wall of records of who is where in the world. And as I'm tuning into your nature of this question, there's a whole lot of things about who you're connected to. One of the reasons you're asking about this, and I can see your Arcturian guide helping filter through some of the Akashic information, pointing out something really specific for you. You were a part of a deluge that affected Lower Peru from a massive aquifer that was created to benefit a Vorgoran species, which was very aggressive towards Arcturians who were settling on Earth. And in fact, the Vorgorians were incarnating here on Earth to specifically hunt and kill Arcturians. And that is where you kind of went astray from the collective. And when you went astray from the collective, you fell into the classic Earth zealot format in which you became a hunter of the hunters. And this is something why you're in mass music right now. When you became a hunter of the hunted, you became villainously known, quite villainously known as a butcher of those that would hunt your kin, one who had fallen victim to their own belief. And as I'm looking deeper into this, one of the reasons this is so important in your Akashic record is the music that you helped do throughout the many, 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 many decades. Your frequency, your signature frequency in every single song you ever recorded, whether it was heard by the public or not, was completing very specific karma to all those beings you ever hunted, and it was your contract that you created as a resolution to all of that karma you created. You would dedicate yourself to that life in service of it, to all those musicians that were there to be creative in that moment in which their career was saying that the Rainmaker is there if you can produce the trueness of voice, the trueness of song, the trueness of music that not only crosses over the dollar barrier, but crosses over the barriers of generations.
That's wonderful. Thank you.
You know, I'm seeing such a big Arcturian collective around you. They're holding hands in a big semicircle around you, and there's layers upon layers upon layers, and like a chorus that's stacked up one behind the other, except they're in the sphere around you, and they're all projecting this collective music to you, and each bit of the music is about Arcturian poetry, about all the people that have been lost from their society to Earth, the lure of the mysteries of Earth that has drawn away some of the most powerful Arcturian consciousness explorers from the farthest enders of the farthest universes, not even creation yet. They have come here and now and found themselves trapped. And there were those beings like you who were never entangled with the Galactic Ascension machine and made a choice at about 11.5 million years ago during the fourth paradox that if they didn't come in now, that the end time of the fifth paradox, that more than likely the darkness would win and the light would lose, and neutrality would be the only thing left to prevent the darkness from spreading to all other galaxies, dimensions, time streams, and universe. And the neutrality isn't going to interfere except to protect their own frequency, their own reality. It is the very nature of that neutral witness. And that was one of the conundrums so many of the higher ascending Arcturians faced, that they had to abandon their neutrality or discover a whole new way that neutrality can mean a way of life that's beneficial for all sentient beings in all dimensions and time streams, even those in predator-prey. So you were part of a Dolma, an Arcturian soul family group, that made a decision, made an oath to planet Arcturus, the actual soul of the planet, saying that they would come to this thing, this galactic ascension machine, and they would stay in it for that fourth paradox and that fifth, and they'd repeat the first, second, and third as if they were in it from the beginning, just to make sure that their powerful ascending masters, ones that have been lured into this million-year mystery, that they'd have a way out, that they weren't going to leave their families behind. So no, you came here with a mission to make sure at the end that you would have done this lifetime that you just did, shared with your wife. Pat yourself on the back. You made it. You shouldn't have. You shouldn't have. But there were so many people in the industry that were protecting you from those that could have really ruined your life.
Yeah.
All right, 519, you're the next one. Your name and where you're calling from?
Hi, sorry. Hi, Andrew. I'm Sean, and I'm calling from Midwestern Ontario, Canada. I guess it's pretty much straight north of you.
Hi, Sean. How you doing today?
Good. I'm glad I ate my lunch before that last call.
How can I help you today?
I guess I was exposed to you very recently through Chris Hales, and listened to those couple calls, and understand you read Akashic Records, and you were talking about fine print on one of those calls. And
can you speak up a little bit? It's very hard to hear you.
Sure. Sorry. Through Chris Hales, I guess I heard your calls recently. Did a little bit of listening to some of your what do you call them?
Archives.
Archives, thank you. And I understand you read the Akashic Records and talked about fine print. And it just got me doing a lot of wondering, kind of big picture stuff for myself. Basically what my Akashic Records say. You
want me to take an Akashic look at you? Okay, that's fine. I got a question. I got a question. The show you listened to, what jumped out at you? I know it was a big download. It was a big download for a lot of people.
Yeah. I listened to both the Walking in Energy show you did with the monk and the other fella after I listened to the one call with the Collective Imagination. But your ability, your history with the Galactic historian and your ability to read and download the Akashics jumped out at me, and then I got wondering about my own. And this overwhelming feeling of stuckness I've had for a long time now, and that something is imminent and something's big. I just can't, for the heck of me, I'm stuck. I'm not even blocked, I don't think. I'm stuck.
Stuck. You're in the same position. You're in the same position as many other souls in this world. You're stuck because your soul family isn't around you. You are a classic example of being born into a family lineage that doesn't have all the aspects of a soul family in it. The mother and father you have were literally the second choice. For you to come in as a baby, you had to choose a migration pattern. And the year that you were born wasn't the year you were supposed to be born. You came in literally 10 years later. You were literally behind forward 1 decade. And the reason why is they were locking out certain types of souls from migrating because you would have been around and active during the 60s and 70s and 80s of that type of revolution and counterculture. So how old are you now?
I was born in 63.
63. And imagine if you were born in 53, what you could have done in the 70s. You would have been a teenager and you would have been fully a part of that.
Yeah, it'd have been late 60s as a teenager, right? Hippies and...
Yep. So you would have been into that counterculture, and the type of soul you were would have made that counterculture even more powerful. And they locked out millions of you like that, not just you. And because you had to be born a decade later with a different set of mother and father that weren't full soul family, they were like soul cousins, you had to create a whole different set of contracts. And these contracts are actually what's limiting you on a psychic level from understanding your galactic heritage. You weren't born on this planet as an original Earth-evolving soul. You were born an Arcturian. And they're a very high, powerful, multidimensional beings, very much into the wisdom of crystals and energy and electromagnetics. And that is the basis of the type of soul that you are. I mean, when I look at you, I see your Arcturian lineage stuck in a human skin suit that's, essentially backwater hick for you. You should have been born into a very powerful family lineage that had all the psychic skills and the coping skills as parents built in place. You should have been born into a family of healers or doctors that would nurture your psychic talent, but you weren't born into that, and you had to do it this lifetime, have to kick and claw for every little piece of psychic information you can get. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, it does. And I'm kicking and clawing, and where do I go from here then?
Here for you, it's really about beginning the self-healing process. For you as being Arcturian, you should have crystals around you at every moment in the day, quite literally. It doesn't matter what the crystals are. They can even be granite. Anything that's made of stone, actually. I mean, it could be stones out of the river. You're meant to function with crystalline entities, so your psychic side of you can invest energy into them, and then after a while you'll build up several dozen energy batteries, and then you'll be able to overcome the lack of energy that you have because you're still stuck treading water. Something that you should personally do is, like the last caller, is also fast and clear out your gut. You know, Arcturians are very powerful psychics, and they also, when they're overwhelmed with information, being empathic as a child, they store excess information in their gut into their food. So for you too, fasting, doing the colonics or the home enemas, followed up by a diet that acts as a snowplow to clear out your gut. So if you fast, you know, you should eat a tremendous amount of vegetables when your fast is done, and then go back to your normal eating patterns, because that will literally be a snowplow for your gut. And once you feel the expelling of this negative psychic toxic data that's in your gut, you'll be able to dream. And once you're able to dream, you'll connect to your Arcturian soul family, because the types of soul contracts you have right now with your current family have so many extra lines of fine print in them that specifically limits your talent of clairaudience. That's what you could do. You could just tune in and listen to any conversation to any part of the world, as long as they have a soul family or DNA relation to you. So anybody that has a DNA relation to, you can literally listen into their conversations on a 3D matrix.
Part of what I came through Chris Hales is the One People, so I'm very involved and watching and I'm feeling like I should be making a contribution. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's something you can see on the Akashics, or you sense that. Or...
An Akashic record, what it comes down to is when you migrated to Earth from Arcturus, it was about 330,000 years ago. So you came to Earth as an actual person. You didn't come here as a soul, which means you have very, very different rules when you come here as a person. You migrated here and became a citizen of Earth in the Lemurian time. And when you became a citizen of Earth, you also became a child of Earth. So you have two physical homes, which means you are allowed to create soul family here when you pass on Earth, and that's what you did. And you made sure there was a doorway open so other soul family from the Arcturus region could come here and begin to incarnate in the new soul family you were starting here with the adopted Earth brothers and sisters. When you passed on here physically on Earth, you entered the astral realm and then came right in and got caught up into the Earth drama on purpose. And one of the reasons you're so into the One People's Trust is because many of them are from your migrating soul family from Arcturus, as well as from the Pleiades, the Syrians, the Jana, the Vrus. It goes on and on and on. You're a person that holds the doorway open. In you just holding space, making sure that other people can get out of their own, muddy treading of water, allows you to complete your soul contracts this lifetime. Sometimes for you, just sharing the information and inspiring a person to stand up and at least become aware is completing a contract for you. But on the other level, the contracts that limit you from coming into your power, where you can be 1,000 times more effective, are the things that limit you, the psychic. And you, the psychic, should also be a healer. From the bloodline of Arcturian that you're in, because as a galactic historian, I identify bloodlines, I identify species, I identify all the past lives. You're what's called a psychic surgeon, quite literally. Your purpose in Arcturus was to go around to the other worlds that have been fighting in these wars over and over again, and to literally cut out in a positive surgical format the parts of people that turn evil, quite literally. And once you cut them out, they become a shard, and then that shard's given free will to self-explore itself and heal itself within a holographic matrix created in a crystalline substance that's from Arcturus. So you can take out that part that experienced war and there was loving war or hated war, and allow that shard to go through its self-healing while it's being saturated with the love energy of the rest of the soul family. And once that shard becomes healed, you reunite it with the person.
So how do I come into my power then? Like you said, just with the fasting and the...
Well, that's the first step. The second step is reclaiming your free will and beginning to identify the people in your life that are negative incarnating habit patterns. I mean, you were a rebel when you were a teenager?
A closet rebel.
Okay. A closet rebel. What?
Yeah, from outward appearance, I was, a jock, an academic, not your classic rebel.
Okay. And now you're beginning to wanted to come into your power, and because you were a closet rebel, you have to determine what stopped you from being that in that time, and that was because you came into a family that wasn't soul full family, they were soul cousins. And that's where you have to begin to renounce the fine print contract in you that limits you. You have to identify the people that are limiting people and that are negative in karma and habit patterns, and then identify in yourself why you said no all these times when you could have stepped forward and been a powerful person. Identifying your own soul contract isn't exactly easy, but if you sit there and identify your life patterns and habit patterns, they become blatantly obvious. And as they become blatantly obvious, you have to create outward, external prayers about removing the fine print from those soul contracts.
When I find those limiting negative people, whatever you termed it, what do I do with them? Do I just eliminate them from my life, or do I?
No, you have to do it through a prayer system, of an out loud prayer system that tells your energy body to remove those contracts from your energy body. The 3D matrix you isn't an energy body. It's just a projection of the energy body, and then the projection has to tell the energy body, I don't want this program in my energy body anymore.
So it has nothing to do with necessarily physically removing myself from those relationships?
Correct. You're just removing the energy of the fine print or the contract in total.
Okay.
And here's an example. Here's an example. All fine print contract that prevented me from being in the migration pattern of the 50s, I now remove all that energy so I can be fully me this entire lifetime. And you have to say that several dozen times over a few weeks to really understand that that one choice has a whole tree root system of other choices that need to be eliminated too. Just doing it once takes one peg out of a 10,000 peg system. But once you start removing 600 or 700 pegs, you realize removing one peg remove a whole branch or limb of stuff. And at the beginning of experiencing soul contracts, you're just trimming little limbs here and there until you get into the proper technique of saying it out loud in an external prayer system connected to your heart energy, so that the projection of the conscious you is connected to your heart energies.
So you said right now we're in a timeout until June 21st. You're saying that has nothing to do with me or what I should be worried about, other than I should be dealing with this
timeout is meant for people to catch up to the game, because the game's been moving so fast. This is the time you heal. This is the time you conscious exploration, and the time you disconnect from the matrix and understand that the matrix is constantly cannibalizing your energy, so you don't go inside and recharge yourself to 100%.
Right. Okay. Thank you, sir.
You are welcome. Call in any time or get a hold of me for a private reading.
Will do. You take care.
All right. Take it easy. All right, next caller is 406, your name and where you're calling from. 406. Are you
Is
there?
that me, Whitney?
Yes,
This is Whitney.
Your name? Whitney? Where are you calling from today?
Whitney. I'm calling from Montana.
Montana. How you doing today?
I did not expect to get on the call, so that's fantastic.
Well, it's the synchronicity.
I'm doing great, and I was just thinking about saying out loud how amazing you are, and your mood and attitude. I am sure that you are bogged down with nonstop work, and you're still willing, and thank you.
Well, thank you for calling. How can I help you today?
I would like to know more about myself, I guess. I'm an energy worker, and I've been working with the OPPT stuff a lot. But there's certain things about myself that I can't seem to tap into, and I have a lot of guides and things working with me at night. I can feel them touch me. I can feel them do surgical type procedures. But I can't see them yet. I see a lot of dots of energy here and there. But part of me knows that I'm going to be moving soon, and I don't know where, but I've been patient. I guess everybody has in this shift.
Well, what I need you to do is tell me about the first 10 minutes of your day. Be as specific as possible when you first woke up. And what I'm doing is tuning into the infinite dream world you who goes through the process of becoming the finite you. Do about 45, 50 seconds out loud, and I'll tune into you.
Sorry. I woke up this morning. I actually did start remembering I was in a dream that wasn't unpleasant. Most of my dreams are pretty unpleasant. And I actually got on Facebook and saw your Facebook offer, and that's actually how I woke up, was looking at your Facebook offer, and then realizing that the call already started. So you were my wake up this morning.
Well, thank you. Well, I'm tuned into your energies. The first thing that I'm getting is what's known as the energies of the sacred space. And the sacred space is a very specific concept. It's your inner energy body around your vital organs, and then it's your skin layer, and then it's your aura. And what I'm getting is there's several people that are inside your aura energy, a few people on your skin energy, and then 2 people inside your organ energy. Have you had someone that's just passed or is about to pass on?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right, this is really specific energy. You have an ex-boyfriend that's really dominant?
I don't. I've actually been pretty much single most of my life.
What about your parents?
I do have a mother that passed away when I was 11, so that was about 30 years ago. About 29 years ago. Who has always shown. My father has not passed away. We have a good relationship, but very not too much contact.
Well, there's an energy inside your actual gallbladder right now that's not you. That's a person that's inserted themselves there and is draining energy from you. The other people that are on your skin energy are directly coming from your social networking sites. These are people that you've let into your little inner circle. And these aren't too nice people. They may be nice on the surface, but they constantly are creating drama. And then the people that are on your outer aura are the people that you're trying to get into dream worlds with. They're not negative people. They're just not fully aware that they're violating your free will by entering your energy field like this. And this is like, you ever seen those fly zappers? They got the blue light in the center and then the electrical cage around them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you've got the blue light on and no electrical cage, and you're attracting things to you. And that's because the blue light... Does that have to do with
protection?
Yeah, it has to do with protection and empowering your free will to make sure that no energy, being positive, negative, or neutral, is within your sacred space unless you directly invite them in. And this is a very common rule that many, many, many people are going to have to come to terms with, that you cannot be in another person's energy field unless they invite you in. And when they go in and they violate your free will, they can use and abuse spiritual contracts against you. Some of the fine contracts that I'm reading on you are specifically about allowing beings into your sacred space and into your sacred feminine. Did you run a woman's group? Like a battered woman? Battered women's group? Or
no,
something?
not a battered women's group, but we do have a strong group of women light workers that we meet and talk about things together.
Has one of them been abused?
May have.
All right, because the abuse energy is really in this, and this person is very desperate for energy, and is violating free will. If not just you, she's in multiple energy fields.
I do have I'm sorry. I do have a best friend that actually lives in the back apartment of the place that I live in that I've been having an issue with probably this is it. But as soon as she moved in about 2 weeks ago, she started carrying on conversations in her head about me, and I could start to feel it. And I haven't been able to talk to her and be around her very much because I can feel that she's made up things in her head to be mad about.
Right.
And she's also a light worker.
Well, she's not a light worker. She's that mad, honestly. And that's something that you'll have to come to your own determination. Light workers who do not do their inner work are not light workers. Healers that do not heal themselves and use their personal energy to heal others are not healers. They're actually making things worse by not healing themselves. And this is just the unfortunate part of the industry that has encouraged everyone to be light workers and has not enforced the basic rules. You must heal yourself before you heal others. You must heal enough of yourself so you can heal others. You must stay out of the energy fields of others unless invited in. If you're going to be doing healing on a person, get them to say yes, even if it's verbal or written. When you do distance healing on people that don't say yes, you must present that energy to that person so they can say no. If you walk right into a person and start healing with them without their awareness, you're violating their free will. And this is something many, many, many light workers are going to get angry at me for saying. You're violating their free will when you go into their body and heal them and do not get their permission. We live in a free-willed world. It's the way this world is set up. And that includes doing energy work on people. And when people call themselves light workers, when they are very angry inside, they are posers. And those are the ones that need the most amount of healing and the most amount of teaching so they can get themselves back into the healing state so they can be a fully functional light worker. You know, we have many light workers out there that are really only functioning on 30 and 40% of their total energy. And bless their heart for trying, but that energy would be more suited to helping yourself first so you can get up to 70, 80, or 90% of your energy so you can accurately remove energetic entities from people, so you can accurately and effectively heal people with energy and not drain your own reserves. You see, what I'm getting is you're allowing other people to drain your energy reserve because there's a wellspring of energy that keeps recharging and recharging and recharging you. But you're stuck at about 70% of your total available energy. You're not at 100%.
Okay.
So
that makes
for
sense
you,
because I haven't been careful with that. And it's partially because I struggle with the idea of having to protect myself. Because I believe that I can live protection free, but I have to live now. I've been always trying to leapfrog things in my life, and I'm okay.
Well, the next energies that I'm coming to I see a kaleidoscope of energy in your crown chakra. And when I see this is representative that you're actually bilocating in your dreams. Have you been having dreams of yourself on off-world or in other realms?
Sometimes it probably could have been. I don't remember all of my dreams very well.
Okay.
I'm taking Michael Monk's course right now and working with that.
You should be in a very active dream state. This kaleidoscope in your crown chakra is indicating that your higher soul has made multiple parts of itself so it can find super experiences in the dream world so that it can download to your physical body so that the light worker you is constantly having re-nurtured energy, and so you can bring the infinite drop of dream time to the people that you're functionally trying to heal. And there's a separation between your awake mind and your dreaming mind, and you must get that back in order. And you're going to need to do a lot of crown chakra work on yourself. This isn't about, telling yourself to dream and getting lucid. This is crown chakra exclusive energies. What I'm going to suggest is you make literally a bead of like a necklace of crystals and wear it on your crown chakra, interweave it between your hair. Do you have long hair?
I have really short hair, but
really short hair. Well, you may want to make some type of hat that has a bunch of crystals woven into it, so that it's going to start changing the energies of your crown chakra. And then you're going to want to start doing energy work on your ears, the back of your head, the forehead, the top of your head, any part of your skull cap. Okay, even your jaw and the front of your nose. You're going to want to start saturating that with healing energy. And then as it becomes saturated, you're going to have to draw that energy down deeper and deeper and deeper until it reaches your root chakra. And as it reaches your root chakra into your sacred feminine and out your feet, you're going to have to get this downward flow of river-type energy that's going in and through your entire energy body. Your crown chakra is literally being rewired at this moment in time right now. And one of the reasons why is it keeps you protected from dark spirits when you have a screwed up wiring job. So you're going through the next genetic activation, creating mental visualizations while you're healing yourself of your actually twin helix DNA coming out of your root chakra and going out your crown chakra, and then a reverse white double helix of energy intertwining with that red helix coming down out of the crown and going into your root. And that'll connect your light body to your physical DNA physical DNA body, and begin to complete the wiring process at a much faster pace. Visualizations with your genetic double helix. That's very, very important for you. And even if you just see that it coming out of your crown chakra in multiple formats, you're going to start to understand that your DNA is going through a specific light body activation related to your home world of being an Arcturian.
I was wondering about that.
You're an Arcturian collective called Ignara. The Ignaran collective is very unique, actually. There's probably only about 90 Ignaric collectives on our world right now, and they're essentially crown chakra energy surgeons, like the best psychic surgeons that only deal with the crown chakra. So they can find an entity that has a body, and let's say it's not even a human body, it's some other body from some other place. They can perform psychic surgery on that crown chakra so that person can connect with other DNA lineages without actually have the DNA in their body. It's that powerful. It also can help rapidly upgrade a person by raising their vibration by changing the way their crown chakra is. You have any questions about that?
I do. It looks like part of my work, which I've been told in the past, would be helping unleash people's creativity. And that seems like if I'm helping reconnect people with their capabilities.
And you would be able to do that on a significant level if you were to reconnect to your crown chakra and understand that the Ignaran collective is literally working in your crown chakra right now, quite literally. And if you become aware and start nurturing your crown chakra with the healing skills that you have, you will become in direct connection with them because they're a unity consciousness or collective. And so you need to have your hands in your crown energy. Don't really worry about the rest of the body. Really start seriously functioning with your crown chakra. Make a hat that's got a bunch of crystals inside it. Put a crystal on the crown of your head. Before as you lay down in your bed, if you have a nice sized crystal that's got, a big base on it, just lay down and put the crystal on so it's, resting on the crown of your head, and just let yourself fall asleep. And quite literally, you will have incredible experiences. You're all
It'll
about
make it-
chakra energy right now. Yeah, all about it.
How do you spell the Ignara? Is it? Did I hear that right?
Ignara. Narah. Ignara.
And then I was told at one point that I would be channeling Orion, or an Orion collective. Are you seeing anything about that?
Who told you that?
Another gal that works with, she does a lot of channeling for Arcturus Michael. She's a local person here.
The reason I asked if there was angelic energy on what you said about channeling Orions. When it comes to channeling, you're not going to channel. Your crown chakra is not set up to actually channel. You're going to experience them. And it's going to be like in conversation in a multidimensional format where there'll be multiple versions of you speaking to multiple versions of Orion entities in a group type mind. And what you're doing is you're literally sharing the entire encyclopedia of information, similar to the Akashic Records, but it's Orion spirit family focused. Yes, there's Orion energy, but it's more in the function of spirit guides that are actually alive. They're directly related to your DNA, and the Orions are at times very intertwined with the Ignara collective, only because there was a situation in Orion history where there was a massive plague that was coming through, and this plague was a bunch of very specific energetic parasites that would attack crown chakras. And this was created by we'll just call it a psychic terrorist who was inside the Orion history that was spent many thousands of years on the run. And his purpose was to just destroy the Orion people. He was just absolutely a being full of hate and anger and destruction. And he didn't care about the rest of the species of the galaxy. His goal was to ruin the Orion people and then watch their planets burn. So he was able to find a very powerful psychic parasite on a very raw planet. He ripped it out of the planet and began procreating it, filling it full of hate, and then used whatever knowledge and wisdom and science he had learned from the Orion energies, and they began inserting these parasites into the crown chakra energy of Orions, and they rapidly, this basically turned into a galactic-wide pandemic for the Orions, and their species was literally threatened by it. The entire species could have been wiped out by this parasite that was spreading. And the Ignaran collective, being the crown chakra psychic surgeons, came in and just began taking these things out of them. And what they discovered, there was a certain Orions were breeders for this parasitic energy, and this is where they began to discover that the world that this terrorist took the parasite off of, there was a part of the Orion history that many of the modern Orions of that time had no clue that happened. There was a group of Orions who basically went in and raped that planet, quite literally raped it for every resource, and they mined the shit out of it, took all the life off of it, and left it almost a barren, dead planet. And those were the types of entities that were left growing, so it was revenge for the planet, revenge for the person, a match made in heaven. And as this pandemic was taken care of, the knowledge about raping planets and taking planets for all their resource was spread around, and it actually began to end that process of taking all the resources off of a planet and allowing you could still go to planets and get resources, but you were really limited. It was about cultural conservation and preservation, and that actually began out of that.
Wow, you connected a dream that I had several years ago where I was talking with a being in a house that had just been through a flood, and there were massive, kind of like dead moons, but they were gently floating down and they were hitting the earth and just kind of bouncing up like a balloon. And the response from the being was, "These are dead worlds."
Yep.
And so does that tie into the Orions trying to make up for what they did?
Yep. They're trying to resolve that karma. And you know, the Orions have gotten some bad rap here in our modern press, and deservedly so. Parts of them are rotten. But that doesn't go for everyone. I mean, we've got rotten people here in the United States and all over the world. That doesn't make everyone bad. So the fact that you're functioning with the Arcturian collectives, it's really meant that you're here to function in people's crown chakras. You're here to get people to understand that not everything is channeling. Something is literally sometimes it's just experiencing those people through the higher self and filtered down to the awake self so they're totally aware of the conversations. And it's not channeling. That channeling is a different part of the energy.
I feel like it's just being more of myself.
Yeah, you're going to be more of yourself. I mean, start working with that crown, and it's going to become blatantly obvious. Also, you got to start empowering your sacred space and make sure that nothing's going to start stealing your energy anymore. Empower that free will.
Okay.
You know, and if somebody needs in for a little bit, allow them in, but don't give them carte blanche access to inside you.
I think I'm just learning those boundaries. I feel a lot of things, but I don't always know what they are. The only other question that is really burning is, where do you see me being in the next year?
Honestly, it's not about where you are. It's about what's going on in your crown chakra. There's teachers that are waiting there to teach you skills, healing skills, so you can go and do the Ignaran type psychic surgery in other people's crown chakras. Because there are people out here that have had their psychic stream of their crown chakra hijacked, quite literally. And that's representative of channelers that just have no sacred space, have no boundaries, and just connect to whatever being comes in. And you're going to be help healing those people, and they will find you, you will find them, and it'll be a perfect mix, because that's what you're here to do, is give people their crown chakras back.
Fantastic. I really appreciate the time and the information. It makes me feel like I have a way to go with what I'm going.
Well, that's the end of our show. Thank you very much for calling in. We had 2 callers we weren't able to get to.
Hello, Carol. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andrew.
And where are you calling from?
From Australia.
What part of Australia?
It's on the east coast. It's about from the border from New South Wales and Victoria.
Okay, so you're out there in Australia. How did you find out about the show?
I think it was through Veronica Keane.
Through Veronica? So you've heard me do readings?
I heard an interview with you.
Mm-hmm. So you've heard me do readings? You know how this works?
Absolutely.
All right. You have the Akashic record of this world and 20,000 other worlds open to you. So what kind of questions do you have?
Well, the first one was about because I'm actually a quantum body mechanic, and why have I come through to do this?
Well, you've come through to do it because you are really, really good at psychic surgery, specifically dealing with spleen issues. The human spleen is a completely misunderstood organ. It has much more spiritual side effects, and your soul began its mastership in developing psychic surgery specifically related to the spleen millions of years ago as part of the first and second timeline genocide, when certain beings were attacked certain ways, and which was to eliminate them from the time stream to making sure that they could never properly formulate the right organs. So you could go back to the birthing process, and as a psychic surgeon, using this quantum interaction and touch and feeling and all the other things, you were able to really organize the spleen back into what it was, put the hierarchical order of the organs back into place so that the gallbladder meridian wouldn't be overridden by the adrenal glands.
Wow. Well, that sort of explains another dream I had on about the 5th of November. I first thing every morning I think, well, where have I been and what have I dreamt? And I had been talking to someone about overwriting the DNA, and I actually saw a tracing paper overlaid over a blueprint.
Yep.
And the tracing paper had markings on it.
Yeah, it's called a template.
Template.
And that template is a way to program the light body by basically putting up advertising signs in the physical body. So every time the light body enters and leaves the physical body, it gets this advertising blast. And then eventually the light body picks up the program subconsciously or consciously. And yes, the light body does have a subconscious side. It's how it relates to our shadow side, and our conscious part of our light body is what deals with the I am presence. So there is this quad circular expression going on between light body and physical body, and the spleen and the gallbladder are absolutely vital to making sure that those 4 separate expressions are in alignment when the heart, which is the soul spark, wants to express at the quanta or quantum level to manifest in reality. And one of those specific skills you have would be to come in through behind a person where their shoulder blades are, where their heart connects to their spinal column, and you can use your quantum connection energy much like a portal opening scenario, so that the heart has a jump start in creating heart-based portals, reconnecting the physical body to the root chakra through the heart. It's this very specific type of soul surgery that will be very, very necessary with the callous hearts that we have spread throughout all the militaries.
Wow. I really didn't quite, I sort of knew what I was doing, but I didn't, if that makes sense.
Yes, I do, because you are naturally following your DNA wisdom when you are doing your healing. And it is a roadmap. But it's a roadmap you need to fill in marker stones for. Okay. Are you familiar with how the Chinese meridians are set up?
Yes.
Okay. So what I'd like you to do is do a study on the spleen meridian and the gallbladder meridian.
Gallbladder, okay.
Okay. And I want you to discover about pathogenic warmth and pathogenic cold. Those are terms in Chinese, traditional Chinese medicine, about how energy is being alchemized by the body, and the spleen and the gallbladder are the major channels for the quantum side, the infinite side, reaching into the body and resolving a finite situation with infinite energy. Oftentimes the disconnect at the spleen is what prevents or creates the roadblock, so the heart is never connected to the spine fully. Therefore, the reptilian side of our medulla oblongata takes over and leaves us in fight-flight mode. This is like the backup mode that keeps the soul here. It's the trap. And we want to begin to disconnect the medulla oblongata from fight-flight choice first into love first.
Right.
So
wow.
That's your DNA change. That's the DNA change. So the heart, you're creating the portal, the energy will go up, and then your other hand is going to be literally working, or your energy, however you're doing it, is to create a portal to alter the DNA in the medulla oblongata, so the first choice isn't fight or flight, adrenal gland. And as soon as we can get that gear off, love will be the first connection to the mind, and then there will be no separation of the mind. And that's where the greatest psychic surgery is going to be done, dealing with the dense memories of war, the dense memories of rape, and all of those other things that go with it. You'll be able to clear it out with the instant rush of the quantum energy.
Right. I do feel that's what I'm doing, but I I couldn't put words to it.
Well, you're at a point where you're an adept, and you could easily become, we'll use this 3D term, a doctor in this concept. But it would never be viewed as a doctor of the world. It'd be a doctor of the soul.
Yes.
And it's time for you to develop a way to create an English expression. Like when people hear me talk, there is a layer of truth and there's phraseologies that come. When you work with people, as soon as you're done, just like a doctor, take your notes. And within those notes is the infinite quantum connection to each healing that you've done. When I began doing this for my readings, I would take notes afterwards, and for my healing sessions, I'd take notes afterwards. It's when I would go back every twice a year, 3 times a year, and look at all of my notes and see how I've grown as a healer. Because there are times that this technique was very common amongst the people that came in, then a new group of people came in, and there was another way of treating this other group of people, and then I'd keep those two separate, or sometimes I'd mix the two techniques together and some come up with something even greater. You're at this point where you should be trying to work on 2 patients a day every other day. Why 2 in a day? Because it's going to force you to see your habits, good and bad.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing 4.
4 a day?
4 every second day. I can't do it every day.
Okay. Well, is there a way for you to do it to split it up?
I'm sure there is. If I think about it.
Well, the reason why is I'd like for you to do some kind of morning ceremony over a period of 4 days. So if you can do one treatment a day for 4 days, and try to do this ceremony, it doesn't have to be right at sunset. It's whenever you wake up. Before you connect into your day, it's important that you go out and get sun, like quite a bit of sun, like a half hour to 40 minutes of sun gazing. But instead of using your eyes looking at the sun, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to let the sun directly hit where your third eye would be, and allow your 2 natural eyes to gaze into your third eye. So with eyes closed, you're staring at the sun, and you're going to create a sun portal. And that sun portal is going to really, really recharge your third eye so it can become a much more of a deeper receiver when you're going into these next groups of healings. And for anyone else that's out there that is a healer, it is one of the most beneficial things you can do if you are really trying to recharge your scanning mechanism. Because every now and then we get stuff that blocks our scanners. Most of the times it's our own misgivings. Other times it's the volumes of patients that are coming over and over and over again. They bring entities, they bring garbage, they bring pollution, and sometimes it just hangs around, and no matter what, you just have to deal with it until you sweep the leaves off and start over again.
Wow. Okay. Could I ask another question?
Sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
Why have I felt so shackled this life? I felt it as a young person, and then about 22, 25 years ago, I viewed that I had this type of plate in my back, in my pelvis.
Yeah, that's alien architecture. It's commonly an Anunnaki collar system, but you have it at the belt level or lumbar level. You ever seen wrestling where they use a belt as their big trophy? Well, imagine it reversed over your back, and there's this big metal plate over your back. And that is what literally controls your ability to be a sexual being or a sensual being. And it connects you direct into your fight or flight mode, and it takes sensual and sexuality out of you. And that was an Anunnaki expression to disconnect us as beings as naturally incarnating as male or female. They were trying to get us to come in as neutral, 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 neutral. And this type of technology was a physical technology that was put over people, and when they die, they were able to trap the soul with false light technology and bring it right back into the DNA lineage, and then take that belt that you were wearing and then put it where the new baby is, and they grow right back into it over and over again.
Oh, okay. I'm assuming that's being released.
Well, it's one of those things that there was a conscious impression for it. So you ever had a past life regression or seeing those where people have deep somatic crying responses? Without that, it probably isn't going to really go away. And it's because it is an emotional impression at the light body level. So when the soul has a I am presence that bears witness to the soul pain and has soul tears, that is when that final soul program is letting go. But that's what your quantum energy healing comes in, and it creates the direct portal over that spot that's the lumbar muscles, and allows the soul to come in and cry tears inside their body. So you're acting as the soul tear medium with that quantum energy. It's about understanding where to connect it. It is literally between the sacrum and the root chakra is false light technology, which is impairing the light body from being able to create a proper sacrum and a proper root chakra that are not connected to fight or flight first, but to love first.
Right. Oh, it's a lot to take in today.
Well, I've got a really good example of a person that's been out there doing good work, and the amount that's coming in here is it's actually really fun for me to be able to connect to you like this.
For me as well, because I've really had nowhere to go with it, to ask questions, to do anything, because no one really understood.
So I got a question for you. What got you into healing?
I nearly lost my son. And I was going through a divorce.
Yeah.
And he was in a coma, and they thought he would die, and then he was told he may never walk again when he came out of the coma, and I thought, no, can't happen. So that's what turned it.
That's what turned it?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of experiences have you had healing people?
Well, I know I release a lot, and it's like I'm almost like a vortex. It goes through me and then out from me. So you just see people get their lives back.
Exactly. And when you see people get their lives back, it's not a skill you can really deny yourself anymore, and you want to incorporate that into your social life.
How do you mean?
Well, we want to make it a part of us, that we constantly want to show who we are, because there is a way to get lives back. And there are many people that have had their own lives stolen simply because they don't speak some layers of truth.
Yep.
Okay. So for you and your particular skill set and talents, what is it that you want to tell the world that you really haven't been able to, maybe because of the societal environment you're in or the types of friends that you have?
Well, basically, how the body works and what's been done.
Right.
Because there is a sequence to the body.
Right. There is a mathematics to the body, too. There is an equation that the spirit adheres to stay a part of this body. And when we learn what our light body templates are for each of our chakra points, we get an overall soul template of who we are as a being. And that's an Akashic record frequency that's available to absolutely everyone. But we have to know the process of understanding what our root chakra means as a red expression through all the layers and colors of the expression, because there are 7 colors of world here. There are 9 bodies of experience behind this I am presence. That includes all of you out there. That's how much of an inherent multidimensional being we are. Our medicine must reflect that. It must have ways of reminding the self that it does have a pecking order here in this now, in domination and control, where the hierarchical order still exists. And until we uncreate hierarchical order by individuality, we stay here in resolution. And the bodies will need people that can connect them to the quantum level, whether it's through touch, through sound, through remote energy healing, through Chinese medicine, whatever it is, there's a belief system that creates the frequency that allows the body return to the natural radiant blueprint of health.
Correct. It's always just, it never ceases to amaze me how they come in one way and they go out another.
So what other kind of questions do you have? Anything about the human body?
About the human body? I'm not sure. Yes, there was one. I woke up about two weeks ago, and I had scratches on my chest, and it was two initials, AK.
How many times has this happened?
Just the once, and I get a client this morning who's got it on his back.
Long-time client, first-time client?
This was a first-time client.
Where on your shoulder?
On my right-hand side.
I see it.
It stayed there for about a week.
Just a second here. I'm going to inspect very slowly here. As the camera focuses and unfocuses again, interesting. What do you remember about this person?
There was a message for him on his back. It was about someone else. It took me a little while to understand because he had a tattoo, but it was actually under the tattoo. And I thought he must have had a tattoo that went wrong and he had another tattoo put on top. And it was a message.
Yeah. What was the message?
The message was from someone deceased that was concerned about his autistic son. And he wanted the son to come to me, and I said, I can't go there. I can't let him come to me.
All right. This is a school entity, an entity that comes from schools. Do you have like a public school that's within 20, 30 kilometers of you?
Yes.
Is it a really big one?
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
this entity has come here to take on your energy and to bring it into a meat grinder. These body marking entities almost always are related with school, 95% of the time. As soon as I started going through it, you mentioned the autistic kid. That autistic kid is being psychically abused by this school, and he's negatively reaching out to get someone to bring help to him.
Yeah.
That also means he's working with the entity, which is even worse, which means he's probably already really, really possessed. And this is something that's in 2 degrees of separation of you. So this is really a pretty powerful puppeting entity. It probably really just wants to feed off of you, but it could have other plans and goals, but I've disconnected it here from you. It didn't leave anything other than the mark on your body, and somehow your body chose to accept the mark. So you have to know that.
Oh, yeah, I had marks on my arm and on my forehead.
Yeah. Well, you need to be very careful when you're dealing with some of these clients. They come as a toxic mess. It's probably going to be a really, really good idea to really sage out your healing room. Really move the stuff about. Begin doing much more ceremonial work in there to clear it out before and after. You might even consider getting a water feature in there. So there's constantly the sound of running water in there. You're going to want to set up some kind of crystal protection grid. That's very, very, very important. I don't do shows without my tools available. And one is so heavy I can barely pick it up. This one, which I've shown before. All right?
Yeah.
You need to create your own. And it's time that you took that serious, because you got lucky here that this entity didn't really sink its claws into you. It's more like the autistic kid's really possessed and has some skill at a medium level. The vast majority of autistic kids are super ass psychic, and they are very manipulative at the blue body level. Some for good and some for confused because they don't really know what they're doing at all. And others become very adept at manipulating people to get what they want. I know a particular autistic child in Los Angeles that can get anybody it wants to come and meet it within minutes. Just done. You can watch it happen. Okay? That's how powerful and connected these kids are. It's about their environment they're growing up in. Now, what other kind of questions do you have?
I'm not sure at the moment. I have a look at the book. No, I think I've... Where do I come from?
Where do you come from? Chicken or the egg? What came first? Your Arcturian was your last life... Well, hold on. Flies. You have an Arcturian side, which was your last life before you entered the Galactic Ascension machine in the second timeline paradox. So that's how you arrived to get here to the now. So you started in the second timeline paradox as an Arcturian, and then at the end of the second timeline paradox, everything reset, and you started back as the first one, because every time it's repeated, you repeat all of them simultaneously. And then that time, you weren't an Arcturian, you were a human. And then there was the fourth, and you weren't Arcturian or human either, you were Pleiadian. So in this expression, you are all four simultaneously, plus human. That's what your multidimensional awakening is about, is realizing that you have in your DNA ancestral and cultural memories that allow you to deeply connect to any of those species.
Right.
Their cultures, their customs, their habits will be second nature to you.
Okay. And why is it I just can't seem to, I don't know, get into more grouping? I seem to be like a lone ranger.
Well, it's partly because where you're living right now, you're not in the hustle and bustle of a big city that really has the movers and shakers, which means you have to grow a crew. And this is grow a crew. A crew of people. Grow a crew.
Okay, yep.
Create, almost like in the Lord of the Rings, the Fellowship of the Rings, because this isn't an alone journey for you anymore.
Okay.
You've realized that it's the healers that come together and change this world.
Correct. I do know that.
Okay. Well, they got to do that at the grassroots, where they can start sponsoring healing ceremonies for people to come and get healed at, where there's multiple volunteers from multiple sects all sharing the sacred space, while somebody is there tending with the energies to make sure no one is leaving pollution around. Allowing all faiths to come through, all of it to be shown, to not let fear any there, but to step forward as the healer and say we all can come together and make this happen at a local level. There are plenty of sick people out there.
Wow. That goes back to another dream I had. Exactly saying what you're saying. Get more people together.
Well, are you ready to lead a crew?
Yes. I hope I am.
Well, I know you are. Okay, I know you are.
and it's a matter of you giving yourself the true permission to taste your own power and create that crew.
True.
Yep.
I had one go at it and didn't work because there was ego involved by others.
Yeah.
And I just stopped it.
You gotta try again.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Well, this has been a really, really fun time. We're going to move on to the next caller. Thank you very much.
Oh, Andrew, I can't thank you enough.
You're welcome.
Very well. We've got some great questions for you already lined up concerning your reading.
Mm-hmm.
One in particular that came from Thoth was, where can we learn about psychic surgery? You mentioned in the reading about learning psychic surgery. What would be the best avenue? What would you suggest in this crazy world? Which would be the most original or...
So I was wondering, a lot of people who have the same affliction that I do, the arthritis, the inflammation in the spine, they have had a lot of success with a no-starch diet. And I have not had much success personally with it. Should I keep trying? Would this help? Or
there are 3D ways of creating the placebo effect that creates healing. And the placebo effect is when we actually heal ourselves. And for you, there's very little placebo effect medicines that will last long enough, because what you're dealing with is your actual core energy field, where all your chakras align to, are dealing with two types of light body technology. One that says to awaken and turn your homing beacon on, and the other one that says be warned, if there's an awakening, you will be going to sleep right away in a death phase. So you literally have confusing spiritual signals going on, intense moments of super spiritual connection followed up by a few weeks of paranoia that follows to slight depression by these awakening moments again.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, it happens to me a lot. You know, I'll wake up, fall asleep.
Right. That's the sickness manifesting into the 3D form. And when I see this, you at the core of your being have to bring your circadian rhythms, the way you relate to the planet, back to the first thing that you heard as a person in this world, which was that of the heartbeat of your mother and the heartbeat of yourself. That's the twin heartbeats that all beings hear when they're in the fetal womb. That is the deepest pathway to your healing, is getting back to the cores. Something that I'd recommend for you would be craniosacral therapy. Right away, that's going to bring your biorhythms at your core level back into beingness. Will it reduce swelling? No, it'll begin to challenge the programming that says awake, 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 and the other one that says be warned, be warned, be warned. You have tens of thousands of these psychic watchers set up through hundreds of dimensions and time streams that are waiting for psychic waves to come in, so that you, like a weatherman, can say, hey, wind warning, everyone, batten down the hatches. And that's because of so many epoch generations you spent inside the timeline fallout shelter, and your experience was so much more limited in there than it should have been, and you had to plug into the unispecies in the deep future and give them warnings of what was happening in the past. That's what most people's pastime in these fallout shelters were, since they couldn't connect into full spirituality. All they can do is connect to the ancient future and just be this voice that etched its way out of time and was giving warnings to our ancient future selves, just as if you were, Whisper Mountain in the Terminator. You're just coming on, I have survived.
When imagine 40 or 50 million people in one timeline fallout shelter all doing this for 40 or 50 years, and then their whole life resets, and then they do it again and again and again for like 400,000 or 500,000 years until they get a moment in history where their soul shards on the ancient future self have figured out how to fix whatever it was that got them locked into that timeline fallout shelter. You know, you're an example that psychic surgery would do you well, learning it yourself, beginning a healing skill that can teach you self-surgery, particularly realigning your sacrum. Your sacrum is going to be like the timing belt of a car. You know, in the Asian cars, when the timing belt goes out when you're driving, you can ruin the whole motor. And you're in that point right now, where your timing belt is really, really, really at odds. Then it could go through a system failure if you don't begin to realign the circadian rhythms, specifically in the sacrum. And that's going to involve some type of honest sexual release.
Right.
Well, I mean, how is that area been for you?
The female partner area has been lacking.
All right, so this is the buildup of why the circadian rhythms are going more and more and more. Did you hear the other show where we talked about masturbation?
I believe so.
Yeah, well, I think it was about 3 or 4 days ago. It would do you well to go back and listen to that particular section. I don't want to involve that in your reading. It would do you well to disconnect from the universe and create your own realm in your own strength and power. And from there, you know, begin to find some type of release. I see a tremendous build-up in your shoulders, back, neck, spine. This is a situation that's almost like you're ready to be spiritually milked.
Right.
It's like a milking cow that hasn't been milked in 2 days. There's a lot of
like a release of energy.
Hold on. I got it. I'm just pulling it out of you right now. Sometimes I just got to tune into the energy. I'm clearing out the spot where your two shoulder blades meet your spine, and I'm just scooping the energy out, coming down your spine, scooping it out of your tailbone. All right, I'm going to do a little coaching here with you on some type of words I just want you to hear out loud. Just repeat after me. This is going to be in contract revocation style.
Okay.
I, in the ever-present moment.
I, in the ever-present moment.
Acknowledge my higher self.
Acknowledge my higher self.
In perfect synchronicity.
In perfect synchronicity.
I become a witness of myself.
I become a witness of myself.
In all dimensions and time streams.
In all dimensions and time streams.
All galaxies and all universes.
All galaxies and all universes.
I bear witness.
I bear witness.
To my full soul spark.
To my full soul spark.
Entering my sacrum.
Entering my sacrum.
Like a thunderstorm on the distant horizon.
Like a thunderstorm on the distant horizon.
It rushes in.
It rushes in.
And blows out all dense energy.
And blows out all dense energy.
All stagnant, dense energy.
All stagnant, dense energy.
That is stuck in my sacrum.
That is stuck in my sacrum.
Is struck by spirit lightning.
Is struck by spirit lightning.
And removed completely from my being.
and removed completely from my being.
This thunderstorm rushes up into my solar plexus.
This thunderstorm rushes up into my solar plexus.
And out my crown chakra.
And out my crown chakra.
Enveloping me, my entire aura.
Enveloping me, my entire aura.
A placenta of energy forms around me.
A placenta of energy forms around me.
For the fullness of my spirit to rest in my heart.
For the fullness of my spirit to rest in my heart.
From here I declare my sovereign free will.
From here I declare my sovereign free will.
I let go of all expectations.
I let go of all expectations.
For I am in the moment.
For I am in the moment.
In this ever-present moment.
In this ever-present moment.
I release all stress to my root chakra.
I release all stress to my root chakra.
To my ancestors I'm connected with.
To my ancestors I am connected with.
I sever all bonds with ancestors.
I sever all bonds with ancestors.
Who are only offering me spiritual debt.
Who are only offering me spiritual debt.
I take the psychic surgeon's tool.
I take the psychic surgeon's tool.
And cut all cords to all psychic debt.
And cut all cords to all psychic debt.
In all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes.
In all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes.
I call upon my highest soul spark in my heart.
I call upon the highest soul spark in my heart.
To audit my entire energy field.
To audit my entire energy field.
And to bring to light and surface all remaining attachments.
And to bring to light and surface all remaining attachments.
To perverted forms of love.
To perverted forms of love.
I use the psychic surgeon's tool.
I use the psychic surgeon's tool.
With careful test and will.
With careful test and will.
I remove. All perverted attachments to love.
All perverted attachments to love.
And I put them in this permanent spiritual cord of equity.
And I put them in this permanent spiritual cord of equity.
With all ancestors present.
With all ancestors present.
So remedy and resolve can be found.
So remedy and resolve can be found.
I now call to my dreaming body.
I now call to my dreaming body.
To be present in this spiritual cord of equity.
To be present in this spiritual cord of equity.
I call upon my highest soul spark to be present in this spiritual cord of equity.
I call upon my highest soul spark to be present in this spiritual cord of equity.
The triad of the I Am Self is here.
The triad of the I Am Self is here.
We, the triad.
We, the triad.
Begin the process of self-calibration.
Begin the process of self-calibration.
We bring all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes.
We bring all dimensions, time streams, galaxies, and universes.
Back to the 0 point of universal immigration.
Back to the 0 point of universal emigration.
I bring forth my universal blueprint.
I bring forth my universal blueprint.
Of radiant health.
Of radiant health.
I impress it into every cell in my body.
I impress it into every cell in my body.
So I may always know.
So I may always know.
The radiant blueprint of health.
The radiant blueprint of health.
I open the library of my root chakra.
I open the library of my root chakra.
To receive this wisdom.
To receive this wisdom.
And to teach all expressions of the triad I am.
And to teach all expressions of the triad I am.
To return to this point of sacred neutral.
To return to this point of sacred neutral.
In alignment and calibration.
In alignment and calibration.
With all aspects of my life.
With all aspects of my life.
I ask that this be entered into the Earth Akashic Record.
I ask that they be entered into the Earth Akashic Record.
So all beings know I've declared my sovereign free will.
So all beings know that I have declared my sovereign free will.
There we go. There we go.
Okay.
How do you feel?
Thank you for that, Andrew. I feel like a weight's been lifted off my shoulders, and I feel a lot more present here.
I just reconnected about several thousand timelines back to your original self. You haven't been in a triad realignment in a spiritual court of equity in about 7 million years.
Wow.
That was actually what was written when I read your piece that you sent to me to be a candidate to be read. That's exactly what I read. And it's not often that I do that publicly. I want to thank you for following through with a soul contract.
Very well. We've got some great questions for you already lined up concerning your reading.
Mm-hmm.
One in particular that came from Thoth was, where can we learn about psychic surgery? You mentioned in the reading about learning psychic surgery. What would be the best avenue? What would you suggest in this crazy world? Which would be the most original or authentic?
Psychic surgery comes in every culture and expression. If one wants to take the easy road right away, it's Reiki 3. You go and find a Reiki 1 and 2 practitioner to teach you the sending treatments forward in time and backward in time, and you get really good at it. And then you can go and take the advanced Reiki training, and you get the mastership program. And that's all of the teachings that you'll need for psychic surgery. As long as when you sign up for the class, you make sure that teacher actually knows that part. In the Reiki.org handbooks that they do, that's done by William Rand, it is standard course practice to teach about psychic surgery in ART, Advanced Reiki Therapy. So that right there for $500 generally for your Reiki 1 and 2 combined, maybe $850 if you go to a bigger place, that's right there. And another $500 to do your master, so right around $1,000 puts you at that point where you have all the skill sets. Then the next thing is being able to work on other people so you realize you are a multidimensional being, and when you are going to do psychic surgery on yourself, you have to be a multidimensional being. You can't keep doing field surgery on yourself all the time, and that's what most of us do. We're patching up a wound. Like in today, the wound in the crown chakra, that was I immediately put the psychic bandage on it, and I called essentially, the emergency medical team in to say, hey, this bloody wound has been open for quite a few years. We need to sew it shut and seam it shut and stitch it back into reality. And psychic surgery went along and did that as I was going through the conversation. And then also realigning his energy field when I was, realigning his field and clearing everything out as he was going through those I am statements. So those have a lot to do with psychic surgery. because you're not saying this to the person. You are doing this in your own mind and echoing it through other dimensions and time streams. So it isn't just one hand working on one spot. It's tens of thousands of your own hands and voice working on all dimensions and time streams to bring calmness to a particular area that is having major psychic issues, whether it's bleed through from other lifetimes, like a wound that's causing soreness, or something that needs the proper toolkit to remove the dense energy and return it to the blueprint of health. So that pretty much explains that. And then there's quantum healing, quantum touch, pranic healing, and you really have to ask the teacher about that advanced part where you're looking at what psychic surgery is, and say it's a discipline. It's a very difficult discipline to learn, but when you know you're good at it, you are a rare talent. And I advise anyone that finds themselves to be even slightly good at it to follow through with it. It'll be one of the best life skills you've ever learned for yourself and others.
Another question. This one's from Claudia. She's had a reading with you, Andrew. I'm an Arcturian 3/3. You said this event will have impact in our astral world. Since a long time I went to astral travel, but I don't have any success yet. I've cleansed my body as you suggested, but still have obstacles in my way. Any help you can give her to help her?
So the first thing is the level of discipline that you want to go into your self-healing and self-nurturing. Much like I said in the beginning of our conversation, when one takes that at the truly mastered discipline level, the journey becomes easier, each stride becomes longer, and a lot of people on the journey want to rush it. You are taking the scenic route. Everyone that is here on Earth is here to get your PhD in your School of Hard Knocks. And if you did your extra credit 5,000 lifetimes ago or 5 lifetimes ago, or you waited to the end. So for you, Claudia, self-heal and self-nurture, healing and self-nurturing. Allow the master discipline you to slow your journey down, process more of the information you did in the past to truly engage your birthright of hindsight and foresight simultaneously. Ritualize and ceremonialize that process so clarity comes, greater form of awareness comes, the detoxes and cleanse you have done their job. The next layer of the journey is truly about silence, self-healing, and then what is it you want to truly do with yourself in the now? So many people that are audience members right now, each and every one of you should be a presenter. That is how we make this go viral, by creating our own community, by looking at the information, synthesizing it in such a way that we can translate it to the average Joe in the street who watches Fox News or ABC or any of the other common media sources, to master the colloquial now, to be the thought leader, the motivator, such as we are right now.
I think that's great information. Like I said before, self-empowerment is the biggest secret of mankind. Yep. Why religion was created, why this is to get everybody thinking outside of themselves, not realizing we're the gods and goddesses here on earth. Everything we say manifests. If everybody knew that, we wouldn't have wars and all this other crap that's going on. It's that simple, simplicity. Like you said. Another question.
I want to add something.
Sure.
We're one thought away, from one individual thought away from somebody creating an invaluable thought that is a thought construct everyone can share. With no way of charging anyone about that.
Wow. As in the 100th monkey effect, when that happens, that
That's
will...
Right.
Right. And we know that's going to happen because that's why we're here.
Yep. When somebody figures out how to exchange that wisdom without charging for it, it's done. It's over.
Well, we're working on it.
Yeah, we're working on it.
We're working on it. I mean, slowly but surely, we're working on
Each different bubble of reality is true.
A galactic historian is a person that looks at all the lines of dramatic karma.
Nudge, nudge. It's the Holy Grail.
Improvise. Mysterious. It's counter psychic intelligence.
Why is DNA farming of this star cluster so important?
Because we do manifest our reality. We do create our reality.